stamp. I used the word icon. I should have said stamp. In the box next to the sentence that you most identify with. And these are the categories that Amy touched on in the presentation. So work as a job, work as a
Okay, Ben, this is Anne. I need a little 101. Annotate function. I have no problem saying this is still foreign.
All good. So I believe I have a different screen than everybody because I'm sharing. It's at the bottom, or is it the top, Amy?
So in my view, it's at the top. It says view options. Hi, Anne, by the way.
Hi, Amy.
And then you slide down a little bit. I think all of our Zooms might be a little bit different. To the one that says annotate.
You know what? I'm going to look. And when I find it, you're going to tell my son that I did something. Correct.
Okay.
He gives me. And if I don't see it, I'm sorry. I'm working on it.
All good.
No worries.
I'm just gonna verbalize what I'm seeing. Most people are placing their stamps in the work as a calling box. We also want to encourage you, if there's something from the recorded presentation that resonated with you, please share it in the chat. I'm also appreciating the folks who put their stamps on the line, and I'm gonna safely assume that that means you identify with multiple, which is great. We are all complex beings. And I just want to honor that in this space. And like I said, don't be afraid. We just kind of want to get a sense for who's in the room. Amy and I are coming into this with some assumptions based on what we know about MCH as a field, but we don't want to operate with just those assumptions. So I'm going to just give us, oh, Eden, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, sometimes it's just like those personality, tests or things where it's like, sometimes it's really circumstantial. All right, please continue to share things that resonated with you in the chat box. I am gonna I'm gonna clear the annotation for now so that I can change my slide. But thank you all for participating in that. I'm gonna stop and then, here we go. So now that I know folks can see my screen because we all did the annotate, just hi again, live. This is Unpacking Individual and Collective Resilience in MCH Practice. My name is Ben Kaufman. It says Benjamin on the slide. I never go by that, not even my grandmother. And I'm joined by my wonderful colleague, Amy Molinek, from the National MCH Workforce Development Center, who is going to just start with sort of a refresher from the recording on our sort of purpose and philosophy.
Thanks, Ben. And thanks everybody who's putting things in the chat. Sarah, I'm glad it was helpful. We're happy to have it shared. And also I want to point out Luca's comment in the chat. Thanks for that. It is, I mean, we're going to talk today about how we're all taking care of ourselves and building towards resilience, but there is an organizational responsibility as well. So I'll just say briefly, our goal here is to just learn from you, learn together about what resilience looks like for you. Ben and I and our collective roles are interested in learning about this from you so that we can continue to build, if we need to build additional trainings or whatever support like this, we really want to build that based on what you all are practicing in terms of resilience and at your organizational level or even just personally. So that's what we're going to do. This is going to be interactive, not really a Q&A. It's going to be more some reflection time for you. If you watch the video, you'll recognize our philosophy on the right side. And I just want to say again, resilience is a little bit, in some cases, like blaming the victim. And we want to be resilient and we want to have grit. And it's not the only thing that matters. And we're all somewhere on that spectrum. And some days we're in different places on the spectrum. So whatever is a value here, please take it. And whatever is not, it will not offend us in the least if you just leave some of this behind. So I think we're going to move into an activity. Ben, you want to pick up here?
Wouldn't be 2022 if I didn't. mute myself at some point. So the first thing we're going to do is an individual reflection, and I wish we had more time with you all today to really sit with this, but this is the beginning of reflection that we hope you will continue after this session. So as you saw in the discussion, Michaela, thank you, Michaela, shared where you can find this. There's a handout button when you click on this session, but I think Amy just popped it in the chat, which is awesome. And so we created this template to sort of get you all in the mindset thinking about the application of some of the things we talked about. So I'll just read what's on the screen, and you all please feel free to start using this document or even just scratch paper. If you just want to take a picture of this on your phone even. In one sentence, and really keep it brief, identify an aspect of or circumstance within your professional life that is currently requiring you to practice individual resilience. And individual resilience is a key distinguisher because, again, we talked about the collective piece as well. So then write out, I feel like hopefully that's something that everybody should be able to do rather quickly. But the harder part is then these sort of bullets. In what ways do you feel strong or capable? And we hope that you do in at least one way. In what ways do you feel compromised? And then going to the collective resilience piece, and Luca, I'm thinking about your chat comment. How is the culture of your team, unit, or agency contributing to these feelings? Amplifying your feelings of being strong or capable, amplifying your feelings of feeling compromised. Those are all connected. And then also too, we'd love to have you share any strategies, relationships, resources that have helped you build or sustain your resilience when facing previous challenges. So I think someone asked about mental health resources. So this is a space for you to think about the things that have helped you get through, even if they're not tangible things. And then strategies, relationships, resources you've seen work to build team and unit resilience. And this is a lot to ask of you right now. Just begin. And what we'll hopefully do is get some of these things, this second piece, the strategies and relationships and resources. We'd love to get some of this from you later on, and we'll do like a gallery walk and just share some things that people have pulled together. So we'll give you our email addresses after this to be able to communicate those things with us if you so choose. The first piece of this is really just for you, and we'll move momentarily into an opportunity to share some of these reflections with peers who are in the room, and we have about 40 people here, so this will be great. So I'm gonna just stop talking for about 30 or 45 seconds because the juice of this really is opportunities to connect with other people.
Thanks, Ben. All right, I have the breakouts ready to go. We're all going to shuffle into breakouts. Please use the handout or screenshot of the questions and spend some time talking. That's all we're going for. Ben, go ahead.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Amy, I didn't even give the instructions, so let me do that. Okay. So we're going to assign you to breakout rooms. Again, we just wanted you to get started on the reflection. We know that hopefully the session elicited a lot of thoughts and feelings. Briefly introduce yourself, share your prompt response or any pieces of your prompt responses that you feel comfortable sharing. You can screen share your template if you want a visual aid. You don't have to do that. And we're going to try and take 8 to 10 minutes. It's 20 minutes. We overestimated. We're going to take 8 to 10 minutes to just talk through some of these things. And if you all want to take maybe take a picture of this on your phone, we'll try and put it in the chat for everybody, but here's just some guidance on the kinds of discussions that we're having. This is not meant to be solution oriented. This is meant to be support oriented. So just some sentence starters for when someone shares something that you can use in a response. I admire how you, this reminds me of when, have you considered? And then some questions. Are you feeling more inclined to advocate for needed changes or to protect yourself? What skills, knowledge, or abilities would you like to further develop in order for you to feel stronger or more capable? So if you're so inclined, I'll give a minute to take a phone, a phone picture of this guidance just to help you all. And then we will spend, I don't know, Amy, about, like I said, 8 minutes in the breakout room. So it's quick, but hopefully it's an opportunity to connect with someone in the field.
Great. All right. Let's shuffle us into breakout rooms. Feel free to message us. Ben and I will stay in the main room if you need anything, or if you get stuck, feel free to come back into the main room. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you. Good job, Ben. Sorry I jumped in too early there.
No. I'm sorry. I should have just ran through it. You're being so graceful with me. Thank you.
No, that was good. That was fine.
Hey there, you guys. That's Deborah with Conference Managers. I just wanted to make sure you guys got off to a good start, so I'm going to sign out now.
Thank you,
Thanks, Deborah.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you all for run so smoothly. I think even if they don't use I'm just thinking this through, even if they don't use the prompts one bit, I feel like the discussions could still be really fruitful.
Oh, it says it's 60 seconds. Sorry.
It's all good.
They get an extra minute. I didn't realize that was.
And the best thing about Padlet, and we saw this with our leadership lab the other day, it's a lasting thing, or it will be until I delete it. So I've used my whole free Padlet account on this, but I will keep it and then I will screenshot and then I will, so it's all good. We could even ask the conference managers to put a link to the Padlets for folks who access later on. Welcome back, friends. So two things. One, these conversations I know are never long enough. And number two, I know we gave you all some guidance, but hopefully this was a brief moment to talk about whatever it is that you needed to talk about today. At the very least, we hope that was the gift to you today, and I hope you got to explore that at least in a really short amount of time. We are gonna do a couple of sort of group sharing activities now. I really love this tool called Padlet, and I think Amy just put the Padlet link in the chat if you want to click that. This is an opportunity for you all to share from your very brief unpacking discussion what is resonating with you most deeply. And if there isn't something from that discussion, then what from the recording, or what from your reflection following the recording, or just what is on your mind right now is another great reframe of this. So there's a pink plus sign when you go to the Padlet, and you can use words, you can use GIFs, you can even pull things from elsewhere on the internet. It's kind of like a virtual quilt. So anything that is coming to mind for you that you are willing to share, we ask you to share it. And I am going to share my screen with the Padlet in just a moment. Hopefully folks can see that. And thanks to everybody for putting things in there. Again, we said it in the recording, but we really mean it. We hope you take one thing. And maybe that one thing isn't even from Amy and I, it's from somebody else who is crystallizing a thought or validating something you're feeling, which is why we're doing it in this way. So what is resonating with you most deeply? And I'm gonna ask if somebody has something that they've shared or they're seeing something that is speaking to them, come off mute, tell it to us, share why. It's a theme throughout this conference. So I'll ask for just one, maybe two people, whether it's something you or someone else shared.
I like, this is Candace. I like, it's okay to not be okay. Oop, move. Acknowledge the feeling and take the time to support a change. That's not mine, but I like that. I love all of them, but that one just jumped at me.
Well, this is Anne. I like the guy hitting his head on the laptop because I still can't figure out how to do whatever it was I was supposed to figure out how to do. But you know what? It's okay.
This is Anna. I really like the person jumping into the big comfy bed.
Sometimes we just need to be reminded of what a different feeling feels like.
This is Sarah, and I love that Brene Brown quote. I listened to her podcast where she talked a lot about the being clear is kind, and Brene is a social worker and I'm a social worker. And so I feel like a kindred spirit with her. So, and she's like I hope to meet someday, like person. She's my celebrity crush, like.
Well, there's a thought for a future AMCHP opening plenary talk is to get we looked at her to come here. Oh my God, no way could we afford her.
Thank you all for your openness. And I really, yeah, this is wonderful. We have another Padlet, one more. I'm going to share my screen again. So this is getting at that collective resilience piece, but it's that sort of tweener space between your practice of resilience and what needs to happen on a more global level. So the question is, and Amy's going to put the new Padlet link in the chat. I used a different color to distinguish it. How can you be a catalyst in your own unit or organization to support resilience and adaptability? If you are not part of a unit or organization, think about this from your community perspective, however you define what community is to you. So now that we're all kind of familiar with Padlet, I'm going to stop sharing and we'll reshare the new Padlet. We're looking forward to your thoughts.
Let's see.
This can be aspirational. This can be something that you are doing that you want to do more of or do better. This could be something that you admire that someone else does. I'll just leave space for a second, but if there's somebody that sees something that someone else shared or wants to elaborate on what they're sharing, please, again, come off mute.
I want to shout out the person that said use a quick check-in question in meetings. That's a great idea in virtual meetings in particular. And one thing I've noticed for people who use that, in some of the most effective meetings I'm in, the person will say, what check-in question do you want to use today? And they will leave that to the group. And sometimes people say things, silly things like, what is the most often used emoji on your telephone? Pull up your phone and tell us out loud what the most used emoji on your phone is. And sometimes people say, I really need to talk about the fact that there was another school shooting. Or so sometimes leaving that check-in to the group can be a useful way to launch a meeting, just kind of meeting people where they are. We do that very naturally when we're in person. It's much more, we have to be much more intentional in a virtual space. Ben, now that I was blathering on, I want to give us a time check that we have a minute.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say the being clear equals being kind is really resonating with me too, as someone who doesn't like to give deadlines, but recognizing that people have asked me for those, and that is a way that I can show kindness. This is really wonderful. Thank you all for sharing. All right. Go for it, Amy. I am now sharing our last slide.
I was going to say I could go for it, but I didn't remember what we were doing. Okay. Yeah, if it's helpful to you as a self-reflection, please feel free to take that Word document. We would be interested in seeing those responses. We're not asking for anyone's name. Certainly, you can send us to those and we would anonymize them just for our own learning. You do not have to feel like you need to do that, but if it's useful, you can also take that document and share and use with your staff as a way to reflect. But we would like to build a virtual gallery with the Padlet responses and responses on that Word document that we will disseminate back to this group. And I just want to say thanks for showing up with your whole self to work every day, or even almost every day is really good enough. Thanks for your work and for being really present and engaging with us today.
And I just want to say,
Thank you.
I just want to say, and I've said this for those of you who have been in leadership lab sessions with me, this might be a repeat, but so often all of us think about the systems that we're trying to change, and we do not stop and breathe and take the time to think about what it means for us to be thriving in the context of changing those systems. So thank you for acknowledging that you need to be thriving and that you have the ability to impact the degree to which others feel like they're thriving according to their own definitions of that. Thank you for being the reason that I am in this field. I'm looking forward to being in spaces with you all again.
Thanks, everybody.
See you soon.